I need my caffeine. There we go. Okay. All right, let's do it. Let's get cooking here. Share my sound for all you people out there on the Live and Rumble. And Vaughn. Can't forget Vaughn. And X. I don't even know if anyone watches on X, but we are there. Okay, we are good to go. And there we are. Come on now. Do I have anything? Probably not, probably not. Nope. Nope.
Can bring
just
the world
Obama being
together.
Stupid. Yeah, I don't even know why I tagged that. All right. Boom. Down we go. Hopefully all my settings will actually be in order today. Let's see. Let's see if... Oh, okay. Zoom appears to have not cranked my microphone down into the floor. That's good. That is definitely a good thing. Hopefully it sounds okay for you guys. Can't actually can't see you guys just yet. Oh, come on. There we go. If. Yep. My thoughts exactly. Dooby dooby doo doo doo. Yeah, oh yeah, I saw something about Anderson Pooper leaving. Not CNN. It was like CBS. He's gonna like stop his long time collaboration with something or freaking other. I don't even remember. I don't think it was CNN though. It was some other network. But maybe there's more going on than that. Let's look it up. Was it 60 Minutes? That might have been it. That sounds right. Yep. Okay. To leave 60 Minute show after nearly 2 decades. Okay. Anyway, where were we here? That is too far. We're on into yesterday. Okay. Oh, whoa, whoa. We're getting close. There we are. Oh, Jesse Jackson, dead. Age 84. Yep. Robert Duvall, too, man. Shit. I mean, I'm not so beat up about this guy, but Bobby Duvall? You bet that one hurt. Trump releases statement on the death of Jesse Jackson. The Reverend Jesse Jackson is dead at age 84. I knew him well, long before becoming president. He was a good man with lots of personality, grit, and street smarts. He was very gregarious, someone who truly loved people, despite the fact that I am falsely and consistently called a racist by the scoundrels and lunatics on the radical left. Democrats all. It was always my pleasure to help Jesse along the way. I provided office space for him and his Rainbow Coalition. For years, in the Trump building at 40 Wall Street, responded to his request for helping getting criminal justice reform passed and signed when no other president would even try. single-handedly pushed and passed long-term funding for historically black colleges and universities, which Jesse loved, but also which other presidents would not do. Responded to Jesse's support for opportunity zones, the single most successful economic development package yet approved for black businessmen and women, and much more. Jesse was a force of nature like few others before him. He had much to do with the election without acknowledgement or credit of Barack Hussein Obama, a man who Jesse could not stand. Really? He loved his family greatly, and to them I send my deepest sympathies and condolences. Jesse will be missed. From in another tweet here, another post through social rather. Says Maryland, Virginia, and Washington, D.C., who are responsible for the massive sewage spill in the Potomac River, must get to work immediately. Yeah, it's bad. It's disgusting. It's fucking nasty. I mean, like, it's bad. It's gross. As someone who lives around here, thankfully, upstream, we're in our area upstream of the massive sewage spill, thank God. But still, it's gross. Like, it stinks. It's fucking nasty. It's nasty. It's a pretty big one, too, from what I understand. It's like a 72-inch pipe or something. It's just like busting everywhere, all over the place. Ugh. Doo-doo and pee-pee and poo-poo water. Oh, nice. All up in the river. All that doo-doo, caca, pee-pee water, all up in that nice, beautiful Potomac River. What a shame. They can't do the job. They have to call me and ask politely to get it fixed. The federal government is not at all involved with what has taken place, but we can fix it. Remember, even if that's the case, or even in that case, rather, with the Democrat shutdown, we'll have to bring in true patriots to do the work because many are not working right now. These Democrat-caused disasters, both river and shutdown, will only get worse. The two governors and the mayor of D.C. must act immediately. This is a radical left-caused environmental hazard. With all of their talk about carbon footprints and everything else, they're allowing hundreds of tons of sewage to pour into the mighty Potomac, making it much less mighty. Indeed. Act fast. I'm awaiting your call. It's gross, dude. It's disgusting. It's actually great to see him talking about it. Thank goodness. Because it's nasty, man. Secretary Wright celebrates the first ever airlift of the nuclear reactor.
5,000 homes flying in the belly of a C-17. That thing will be assembled and running, 10 or 12 weeks from now.
My speaker, like, can tell if
Something
that's
like
the
that. I don't
video
want to
or
promise a
that's me.
specific date, but that will be up and
I can only hear
running
it coming out of my
quickly.
speaker.
There's many companies doing this, and we're partnering with a lot of them. But yes, getting the government out of the way, some smart regulatory reform, and just some basic partnerships with private industry. And nuclear power is coming back in America, and it's going to come back strongly.
What does that do to our electric bill?
Yeah, I don't know. Only hearing it out of one speaker. Strange.
Do you regret the links that there have been?
We have no links. We have a very clear record that we've been willing to talk about, which my husband has said. He took some rides on the airplane for his charitable work. I don't recall ever meeting him.
Did you ever meet Ghislaine
fact,
Maxwell?
I did on a few occasions, and thousands of people go to the Clinton Global Initiative. So it to me is not something that is really at the heart of what this matter is about. They are accused, and in both cases were convicted of horrific crimes against girls and women. That should be the focus. And
Do you regret the links that there have been?
You know,
There it
we
is.
have no links.
Weird. It's like
We-
there's an issue with my speaker. Great. I fixed it by
have
bonking it, giving a little bonk.
a very clear
Wonderful. Another freaking thing to replace. I've had these speakers for forever. Man. Ay. All right. Well, we'll roll with one. Doesn't matter to you guys. So.
record that we've been willing to talk about, which my husband has said. He took some rides on the airplane for his charitable work. I don't recall ever meeting him.
Did you ever meet
in
Ghislaine
fact,
Maxwell?
I did on a few occasions, and thousands of people go to the Clinton Global Initiative. So it to me is not something that is really at the heart of what this matter is about. They are accused, and in both cases were convicted of horrific crimes against girls and women. That should be the focus. And we
Do you regret the links that there have been?
You know, we have no links. We have a very clear.
Seems to be working for now. Second time it's done that today. All right. Minnesota House Republicans set to push forward legislation cracking down on fraud in state government, including reintroducing House File 1 to create an independent statewide office of the Inspector General. Ooh. Okay. We'll do something with it then. Let's hope. The proposed OIG would serve as an independent watchdog, empowered to investigate and combat suspected fraud, waste, misuse, and unlawful use of public funds, so on and so forth.
Today, state lawmakers in Minnesota will return to the Capitol for the start of the 2026 legislative session, and the state's $9 billion fraud scandal will be back in the spotlight. State House Republicans will reportedly introduce legislation to crack down on fraud, including a proposal to create a statewide office of Inspector General. The state's Senate Democrats are also expected to introduce an anti-fraud package. This all comes after Governor Tim Walz ended his re-election bid amid this very scandal. Happening today, state lawmakers.
DHS spokesperson Tricia McLaughlan to leave the Trump admin. Kristi Noem's spokesperson. Yeah. Oh, last night, Trump on the way back from I don't know where, but on the way back to D.C. Commenting on Cuba.
We're talking to Cuba right now, and Marco Rubio talking to Cuba right now, and they should absolutely make a deal because it's truly a humanitarian threat. And we have a lot of great Cuban Americans, and they're going to be very happy when they're going to be able to go back and say hello to their relatives and do things that they should have been allowed to do for a long time. I'm very interested in the people that are here that were treated so badly by Castro and the Cuban authorities. They have been treated horribly. So we'll see how it all turns out.
Interesting. Okay. Going to be able to go back and say hello to their relatives. I wonder what's going to go down with that. Major outrage erupting after FEMA is being forced to clean up Democrats' largest in history sewage spill in the Potomac River. Oh yeah, it's disgusting.
For the first time, we're hearing from top officials at DC Water about the massive sewage spill we've been telling you about for weeks now. And what they're revealing is stunning.
It truly is. They say it could take up to 10 months to fully repair that broken pipe. Now, this comes as the district issues its strongest warning yet to stay out of the Potomac River. News 4's Mark Seagraves explains.
This is a briefing on the Potomac interceptor rupture that we all know has caused this major ecological disaster. I've seen it characterized as one of the major ecological disasters in the eastern part of the United States. It is not only polluting the Potomac, but it is also threatening the Chesapeake Bay. And
For the first time.
Oh gosh. AOC. Back home. Oh, no. Pardon. No, this is still back in Munich from the other day.
You know, I think that this is such a, I think that this is of course a very longstanding policy of the United States. And I think what we are hoping for is that we want to make sure that we never get to that point.
You know, you feel for somebody when they're not ready for a moment. You really do. World stage, word salad served up. The dismal reviews for Congresswoman Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez's words and remarks and pauses and gasps for anything to say coherently there are really getting bashed today. She was at the Munich Security Conference, and the bashing is coming in a bipartisan way. Here's former ABC News journalist Mark Halperin.
It takes a major screw up for the New York Times to put in their story about AOC that she had, I think they said it was a stumble or something. It has to be a really bad stumble. She has no feeling in her bones about Taiwan. She just thought, well, I'll go with the memorized answer. And I don't think even the Democratic Party will make somebody the nominee if they can't answer that question.
She didn't go with a memorized answer. Democrat strategist Dan Turrentine here.
It was a reminder of you're now on the big stage. Her team hyped her appearance. She froze like a deer in headlights.
And this tough assessment from a veteran New York Democrat strategist, here's the quote: "It was a beauty pageant to show that she had some chops about international issues, and she showed a complete lack of chops." He goes on to say if she runs for president, quote, "She's now given the opposition tons of ammunition to destroy her." President Trump weighed in.
I watched AOC answering questions in Munich. This was not a good look for the United States. AOC, I never really got her to, I never heard her speak very much. They started answering questions. She had no idea what was happening. She had no idea how to answer, very important questions concerning the world.
So that's the context, and that's important to know because it wasn't just for her party and it wasn't just, for some small group.
Wasn't just her either that was having issues answering questions about the world. Gretchen Whitmer, I think for her part, actually used AOC as an example of someone who would probably answer better than her. Nope. Oh no.
At DC.
I think we missed this one. U.S. Southern Command's Joint Task Force Southern Spear conducted 3 deadly strikes on vessels tied to drug trafficking. More drug boats. Boom, boom, boom. Goodbye. Adios, I should say. AOC now whining to the New York Times over scrutiny of her gaffes over in Munich.
It was a horrible
idea.
Yeah.
It's now getting to the point where the kind of cover-up is worse than the initial crime. Start with who she called. She called the New York Times, right? We talk about how her brand is social media savvy. She's young. She constantly is online, kind of giving and taking and just in the game. And next to Gavin Newsom, it's who people said, gets this modern world better than anyone else. to argue that basically it's unfair that people are taking clips and sending them around in short snippets, like, duh, like it's pathetic and embarrassing for her to make this kind of whining argument that when your calling card is that you're kind of the party queen of social media. So I don't understand what she was doing. Like, if you think about it, a smart move would be kind of like what Trump does, which is what would have been like, look, Trump bungles names, Trump bungles regions all the time, right? How come no one's talking about that? Think about when the Access Hollywood
Not really.
What did Trump say? Look at Bill Clinton with women. What did Trump say? Look at Bill Clinton with women. Let's talk about that, right? But to sit there and literally just complain about this, I don't get what she's doing. I think it is just a stunning, kind of immature. And I think, I said to you guys this weekend, not a big deal in the long run. She'll move past it. This just now has more and more people kind of laughing at her within the party.
Look,
it's amazing.
Look, I would just say yes to what Dan said.
Yeah.
At least the few that are paying enough attention to have noticed that something, or a lot of things actually didn't go too well for her over there. Probably pretty short list, though. Most of them are content to just shove their heads in the sand, keep watching. What is it now? MS Now? What's Bongino up to now?
Update. By the way,
update.
If you have an
by the
iPhone,
way, if you have an iPhone,
public service
very
announcement
critical
from the DP
public
show.
service announcement from the
Update your
DP show.
iOS.
Update your
Major
iOS.
update from Apple.
Major
They had
update
some
from
kind of
Apple. They
spyware,
had some kind of
infiltration,
spyware, infiltration, some
Make
major
sure you update
attack.
your phone.
Make sure
I did
you
it this
update
morning.
your phone.
Haven't seen
I
from the
did it
other
this
side the
morning.
threats.
Haven't seen
It's a
from
big
the other
deal. You
side
could
the
look it
threats.
up.
It's a
There was
big
some,
deal. You could
Apple
look it up.
spyware
But there was
update.
some Apple spyware
Up to
update.
date. We're good to go.
Some of the stuff they can do out there with
Some of the stuff they can do out there
with
with this new technology is absolutely incredible.
By the
Make sure
way-
you update it. By the
y'all
way,
getting an echo, huh? Interesting.
If you have
an iPhone,
I might have just had this.
I'm very critical.
That is a bit odd. I don't know why that's going on.
Public service announcement from the DB show. Update your iOS.
Hopefully. We'll see.
Can bring.
California's, it's Nick Shirley's video in California. We'll maybe come back to that if we run out of time. Okay, good. No echo. That's good. Hopefully it stays that way. We'll see. There's always something, man.
Born in 1925. Still kicking.
What do you think about over 30 people are registered to vote in this UPS store right here? Is that a little strange to you?
Is it through P.O. boxes?
Yeah.
I don't know. What are you trying to do, or what are you trying to prove?
Yeah, so
so you have to be registered where you live, right? Where your primary residence is. And so if you've got a primary residence that's a UPS store, there's a real tiny houses, inside the UPS store for people to live in.
Probably. What's your guys' affiliation?
my name's
We're just
Nick
citizens.
Shirley.
Yeah,
Could you live inside of a P.O. box?
No.
So do you think it's a little strange that here in California you have lots of people who are registered to vote from these P.O. boxes? Meanwhile, you don't even have to show your ID when you go and vote.
I don't want to be part of the whole MAGA storyline. Thank you.
This isn't a MAGA storyline, man. This is just the straight up facts. Gloria voted.
What are you trying to do, or what are you trying to prove?
Yeah, so
so you have to
People, man. Good. No echo. Didn't look like it. I mean, I'm watching my meters here at the bottom, and it shouldn't be doing that. So. Anti-ICE protesters purposely clogging a Target checkout line. Oh, the salt thing. They're still doing the salt thing. They're still doing the salt thing. I don't get it. Didn't get it last time. Don't get it this time. Saeed Al Gonzalez. Oh, is that Saeed? That's Saeed? Oh no, that's the woman he tried to drown. Okay. Well, you never know these days.
Hernandez Gonzalez, an undocumented migrant from Venezuela, attacked her. They say he pulled her hair, grabbed her neck, and held her underwater.
She was trying to time her breaths, pick her head up, get a breath, but he continued to fight with her until she went unconscious. And then the next thing she recalled was waking up, kind of laying on the beach, half in, half out of the water.
The woman with marks on her neck and bruises on her face walked a mile before finding a deputy. The sheriff said they arrested the suspect after a call about a man threatening.
So, no, I was right. That was Saeed.
To kill himself, claiming he believed that he had drowned a woman. When told she had survived, the sheriff says he asked if he had felt any remorse.
His response was, no, I don't feel nothing.
Tonight, Gonzalez is in custody on an ICE detainer charged with attempted murder. Beachgoers still shocked by the attack.
I've never heard of anything like that happening here. It's appalled, honestly. A little bit frightened.
Always go with your gut, man. Yeah, so I like.
Say.
Oh, they looked a little dudeish. That is indeed Saeed. Oh gosh, the transgender woman, man, identified as the Rhode Island ice rink shooter, Robert Dorgan, regularly appeared in women's clothing at events and did so on the day of the shooting.
He was
one day before the shooting, he was active on X defending transgender Congresswoman Sarah McBride, aka Tim McBride, replying to criticism by warning, "Keep bashing us, but do not wonder why we go berserk." No, we know why you go berserk. It's because you're fucking crazy. Because you're nuts.
Women's clothing when he showed up to his son's hockey game yesterday afternoon. These pictures you're looking at are from months ago, Bill, but witnesses and people we've talked to who were at this hockey game say that this was something that happened pretty often where he would show up in women's clothing. So according to documents obtained by our affiliate WPRI, Dorgan had a history of family disputes. So let's get into them. Some involving conflict over his gender identity because he had gender reassignment surgery back in 2020. So WPRI reports that in these court documents, his trans identity led to the divorce with his ex-wife, reportedly detailing, she said, that he had narcissistic and personality disorder traits along with the transition. So his social media profile's under investigation. I want to point this out. Just one day before he opened fire, he was defending trans Congresswoman Sarah McBride. He wrote this in part on X: "Keep bashing us, but do not wonder why we go berserk." So they're looking into all of these things on social media. As investigators say, it was a targeted attack. That's one thing they know for sure. Sources telling Fox it was a dispute within this family.
How many times does it have to happen?
That led to the tragedy. So the gunman shows up, kills his ex-wife and one of his own kids at the hockey game. Police say 3 others are in hospital fighting for their lives. And there really could have been more people that were killed, but a good Samaritan stepped in and tried to take this gunman down. Watch.
Police were on scene within a minute and a half of that call. A good Samaritan stepped in and interjected in this scene, and that's probably what led to a swift end of this tragic event.
Wow.
And so what we know right now is that the mayor has said so far, Bill, they've interviewed dozens, maybe more than 100 people. They're going to look at all the different video and piece this together. The question is, how many weapons did this gunman have? We know at least one, and it could have been a lot worse if this other person at the game wouldn't have stepped in and taken that shooter down. So we'll keep an eye on it.
Yeah.
Let's take a look.
Look at that. Let's look at that for a second. Right there. Yeah. All right. Oversight Committee Chairman Jim Jordan confirmed that Minnesota AG Keith Ellison is in hot water over the fraud with feeding our futures.
House Judiciary Committee Chairman Jim Jordan. So you probably heard my last comment to him, and welcome to the program, Chairman. It's unbelievable. You have that much in fraud, but you want to put good money behind bad, basically.
Yeah, keep sending more so we can steal more of it, for goodness sake. Yeah, you know there was fraud. They knew there was fraud because whistleblowers came forward and they just ignored it. And in fact, it looks like they retaliated against them. And in many ways, I think they actually assisted the fraud. It wasn't just like we're going to look the other way. They actually assisted the fraud because we know the Attorney General up there, Mr. Ellison, met with the people who were in charge of this Feeding Our Future program that stuck a bunch of money in their pockets and never gave any meals to kids. He met with them, and then he got political contributions, and then the money kept flowing, of course, to this organization. So, and the other reason you know this is real and they knew about it, Tim Walz isn't running for re-election. If it was Republicans' fault, if it wasn't really his fault, but if they didn't know about this, if there hadn't been whistleblowers come forward, you know he would be running for re-election, but he's not because this thing is real. And finally, here's the good news. The Justice Department has named an assistant attorney general to combat fraud, Colin McDonald. So they are specifically putting in place someone who's going to have staff and go after this across the country because it is truly billions of dollars of American taxpayer money.
Oh, it's more than that. Trillions. It's trillions.
Joining us. What is it that the Democrats actually want? Because it does strike me that they want the issue. They don't necessarily want to have a solution. And consequently, I don't know when this is going to end.
You're exactly right, Jason. This is a political narrative for them. This is for them to try to motivate and try to create a false narrative to Hispanic voters that Trump is being mean. He's not on their side. When in fact, President Trump has said repeatedly, even during the campaign and everywhere, that this election is about securing the border, which he has done. It's about deporting the criminal illegals, which he has done. And it's about trying to require voter integrity reforms, which we're in the process of doing. We've done in the House, and hopefully the Senate will pass very soon.
Yeah, the Democrats say, oh, there's no issue with voting because nobody could possibly do that. But then when they want to actually codify that, put that into the law and say you have to show ID, oh, no, we can't do that. That would be terrible. That would disenfranchise people. You know, the other thing that I find ironic is that they will tell you, these sanctuary cities, counties, and states, they will say, we don't do law enforcement. That's the feds' job. But then when the feds come in and they want to do their job, they say, no, you can't do that job, as if they want zero law enforcement.
Yeah, well, the Democrats have never been on the side of law enforcement. That's why the Democrats, when you look at all the issues they poll so poorly with working class voters, crime is always their worst issue because they never get the backs of our law enforcement officers. And this is another example. What Senator Britt said earlier in that clip is correct. This is the rule of law. If you're here illegally and you've committed a crime, then you should be deported. Bye-bye. That's what the American people voted for when they reelected Donald Trump. That was one of the main platforms of President Trump's reelection campaign, and he's doing that. But you've got Democrat governors now, especially the ones that think they're going to be president of the United States, the ones in California, the ones in Illinois, heck, even ours in Kentucky, who has no chance of being president, still trying to say we're not going to work with ICE. We're not going to work with ICE. That is not up to the governors. If they are here illegally and they've been convicted of a crime and they're in a holding facility, whether it's a federal facility, a state facility, or a local facility, then they need to be turned over to ICE. That's the rule of law. That's what Republicans stand for, and I think that's what the American people stand for. We don't want crime.
I'm sick of it, man. I did see a comment roll in on DLive from someone, I think, referencing my earlier comment about X, about whether or not anyone watches on X. There it is. Deb B says, Pam, X is great. I watch every day. You can scroll back and watch past shows. Weeks of back shows. That's right. Yeah. I think X is actually the only place you can really fully do that. You can more or less do it at Rumble, but it doesn't let you go like all the way back. I think it lets you go back like 16, 18 hours or something, not the full 24. But yeah, X will let you roll through the whole day, every day. All right, Secretary Wright, we saw with the airlifted the nuclear reactor. Zoran Mamdani has announced his chief immigration officer, Faiza Ali, who worked for the Muslim Brotherhood linked, CARE. Wastewater testing in Nantucket found cocaine levels far above national averages, with spikes reaching nearly 3 times the U.S. average. What's going on Nantucket?
Testing shows Nantucket's sewer water is filled with cocaine. According to the Inquirer and Mirror, the island's cocaine markers have routinely exceeded national and regional averages. 2 spikes in October and December reached nearly 3 times the national average. Nantucket's health director says the data will help provide their behavioral health partners with actionable information. New testing shows Nantucket's sewer
good
water
guess
is
walking on is that guessing what's in my dinner bowl. It is Thai food. You were right. Yeah, basil beef and cashew chicken. It's spicy. Pretty good. Yep. Oh, I do like it spicy. You know that. Hyatt Executive Chair Tom Pritzker. Yeah. That Pritzker family. Steps down over Epstein ties. Oh boy. Tom Pritzker, billionaire heir of the Hyatt Hotels fortune, announced Monday he was stepping down as executive chair of the company after a recent batch of Epstein files exposed his ties to the late financier and sex offender. Let's see. Tom Pritzker. Tom Pritzker. A member of the Pritzker family. Yep. So how does he tie in here to the fam? Here we are, up here. Oh, JB is his cousin. Where's the troon? Forget which one it is. Jennifer. It's Jennifer. Ah! Whoa, I'm so sorry. I apologize. Sorry, guys. Yeah, there's Jennifer. I don't see how Jennifer relates to... Who was it? Tom. Yeah, I don't see him there. But somewhere in there. Wonder where the rest of the Pritzker family would happen to fall when it comes to Epstein. Were they kind of getting in the mix too? What say you, JB? Oh.
And we're back, y'all. Thank you for watching.
Here we go.
New fallout from the Jeffrey Epstein files. Hyatt chairman Tom Pritzker is retiring as executive chairman over his ties to the late sex offender. His departure is effective immediately, and he also says he will not seek re-election to the company's board during elections set for this May. In a statement, Pritzker said he, quote, exercised terrible judgment in continuing to associate with both Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell. Tom Pritzker is the cousin of Illinois Governor J.B. Pritzker.
Oh boy, shit! Just ate a pepper. Damn. I thought that was like a just your standard green pepper. Oh no, that was not just your standard green bell pepper. Ah. Oh.
New fallout from the Jeffrey Epstein.
That was hot. All right, any more on the Pritzkers? Any other Pritzkers turning up in this?
Following breaking news, Hyatt chairman Tom Pritzker has turned in his resignation as head of the hotel chain. It's because of his connection to Jeffrey Epstein.
And WGN's Dana Rebick is joining us now with his statement and more on the fallout that we continue to see from the Epstein files.
That's right. Well, the billionaire heir to the Hyatt fortune has served on the board since 1980 and also as the executive chairman since the early 2000s. We first reported in November that Tom Pritzker was named in the Epstein files, and now he is making direct reference to that in his retirement letter to the Hyatt board. Tom Pritzker, executive chairman of Hyatt Hotels Corporation and cousin of Illinois Governor J.B. Pritzker, stepping down from his role effective immediately, saying in a letter to the board, good stewardship also means protecting Hyatt, particularly in the context of my association with Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell.
Not meeting with them after he was convicted of being a pedophile.
Regret. I exercised terrible judgment in maintaining contact with them, and there is no excuse for failing to distance myself sooner. I condemn the actions and the harm caused by Epstein and Maxwell, and I feel deep sorrow for the pain they inflicted on their victims. The 75-year-old named in the Epstein files was in regular contact with Jeffrey Epstein following his 2008 plea deal on sex crimes charges. In a 2018 email exchange between Pritzker and Epstein's then-girlfriend, Karina Shuliak, Pritzker asked what she planned to do on an upcoming trip to Southeast Asia. Shuliak said, going to try to find a new girlfriend for Jeffrey. Pritzker replied, may the force be with you.
Creepy.
OpenClaw is the...
Oh, interesting. I need to save that for later. How do I save this video? Save, please. Yes.
Following.
Okay. Republican Congressman's anti-Muslim remark prompts call for his resignation. Oh, what did Randy do now? This simply weirdo. You run afoul of the Muslims. All right, let's see. Rep. Randy prompted calls for his resignation from Democrats and major Islamic civil rights groups after suggesting in a social media post that he would choose dogs over Muslims. Damn, Randy. Jeez. I mean, at this point, I don't know. Kind of depends on the dog. Pentagon purge. Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth has ordered the removal of Army's top public affairs officer, Colonel Dave Butler, after months of internal resistance. What for? Well, he done did. Okay. Anything on why? Oh. Colonel Butler, who had been selected by senior Army leaders for promotion to brigadier general, will instead retire. Oof. Immediately transitioning from his position as chief of Army Public Affairs to retirement. I don't see any mention of what the nature of the internal clash is, but I think you can probably guess, more or less. Canadian mining company Sherritt halting operations in Cuba. They were operating in Cuba? Wow, okay. Nickel and cobalt mine. New Mexico approves comprehensive probe of Epstein's Zorro Ranch. Here we go. Here we go. Yes. Bravo. That's what I'm talking about.
To launch a full investigation.
There we go.
New Mexico lawmakers on Monday passed legislation to launch a full investigation into what happened at Jeffrey Epstein's Zorro Ranch. The ranch, located about 30 miles south of Santa Fe, is where the late U.S. sex offender is accused of trafficking and sexually assaulting girls and
There's
women.
alleged to be
The so-called
bodies
Truth
there, among other things.
Commission seeks to identify ranch guests and state officials who may have known what was going on at the 7,600-acre property or taken part in alleged sexual abuse. It seeks testimony from survivors, and legislators are also urging local residents to testify. The Justice Department released millions of Epstein-related files that shed new light on activities at the ranch. The files reveal ties between Epstein and two former Democratic governors and an attorney general of New Mexico. Several civil suits accuse Epstein of sexually assaulting girls at Zorro Ranch, locally known as the Playboy Ranch. He was never charged for the alleged offenses. Sigrid McCauley, whose law firm has represented hundreds of Epstein survivors, applauded the move, saying Zorro Ranch had been overlooked by federal investigations.
Many of the survivors had experiences in New Mexico, and as we've learned, there were local politicians and other people that were aware of what was happening in New Mexico. So it's really important that at this point in time, a closer look is taken with respect to that property.
The U.S. Department of Justice passed a request for comment to the FBI. The FBI declined to comment.
Happening in New Mexico, so it's really important that at this point in time, a closer look is taken with respect to that.
Wonder if they're going to look for those girls that were alleged to have disappeared there. Women, young ladies, I should say. Okay, where are we here? Oh, shit. Put us in the wrong spot. There we go. Okay. Multiple medevac flights requested after a church explodes in Boonville, New York. What the shit? Huh? Huh? What happened? Jeez, dude. Oh, man. Wow. Palantir said it's moved its headquarters from Miami to Denver. Out of Florida. Or, pardon, out of into Florida, rather. Or, U.S. natural gas production to reach record highs in 2026 and 2027. Not surprised. Oh God, Nancy Mace. What's she doing now? What now? Lunatic left showed up in my office today. Apparently tried to break in and terrorize her staff. Let's see.
So I just left the office. Something weird was happening. We noticed some people standing out front of our office building doing some cult-like stance or trance or whatever, and there were cameras there. I left. We filmed part of it. We'll post it here in a minute. But they went to my office a little bit ago. We called the cops. We called the police. Thank God law enforcement are nearby and patrol our offices. But they were rattling the door, it sounded like trying to break into our office, aggressively handling the door. There's camera crews there. They called the media. So this is some sort of, set up by lunatics on the left and trying to scare my employees. We get a lot of death threats. And so the way that the left feels so emboldened to scare people, their scare tactics, being physically aggressive, trying to get into my office. We take many security precautions because of the number of death threats that I receive. People need to get it together, get the help that they need, because this isn't normal and it's not safe. And you're going to get what you deserve if you're not careful. So I would tread very carefully.
Okay. Whoa. All right, then. All right. Testing something. Strange. All right. Russia and Ukraine and U.S. beginning talks in Geneva. Of course, Mamdani set to unveil a record $122 billion budget. Plans to raise property taxes in New York. Got to pay for it somehow. All right, what do we got here? Full court press on forcing a days-long talking filibuster on the Senate floor so the Save America Act can be passed.
We've got to be very clear about the talking filibuster. The talking filibuster is different than nuking the filibuster. The talking filibuster simply involves making people speak. Go to the Senate floor, stand up, seek recognition, and speak to filibuster. Filibustering is something that shouldn't be done in one's sleep or while vacationing or while attending the Munich Security Conference. Filibustering is something that should be done in the Senate, on the Senate floor, with people standing up and speaking. We've gotten lax with that, but the Senate rules allow for us to enforce the talking filibuster. If they want to filibuster, make them stand, make them speak. This is the best path, I believe, to getting the Save America Act passed out of the United States Senate onto the president's desk so that President Trump can sign it into law. Share if you want to see that happen. We've got to be
Okay. Study finds Gen Z men and the highly educated leading the return to religion.
Many young men report feeling culturally dislocated or villainized by progressive secular discourse regarding masculinity. Traditional forms of Christianity, particularly Catholicism and Orthodoxy, offer a narrative of responsibility, sacrifice, and hierarchy that appeals to men seeking a defined role in a fluid world. Now, the report also breaks down weekly religious attendance by education level, and those with postgraduate degrees are at 30%. People with bachelor's degrees, 28%. Emily, to add to this a little bit, okay, it's a worldwide phenomenon. 45% increase in the number of people baptized in France. In the UK, they have seen 18 to 24-year-olds jump from 4% believers and attending church in 2018 to 16%. But I love this. Most of this growth is concentrated among Catholics and Pentecostals. A shout out to my evangelical crowd there. Many young men report feeling
in France. Was that? I think so. At the end. Axelrod. Trump offered new ballroom during Obama era. Really? Really? He offered to build the big White House ballroom back during the Obama admin. Privately, I assume. Yeah. That's funny. Teachers' unions push for investigation into Apollo's Epstein ties. Apollo Global Management. Apollo hasn't put this to bed 5 years after severing ties with Leon Black. Most recent Epstein document dump shows that current Apollo CEO Mark Rowan had at least 5 scheduled meetings with Epstein, including once at Apollo's offices. And also that Epstein was at least informally advising on a potential tax inversion whereby Apollo would have redomiciled outside of the U.S. Jeez. They just kept right on ahead going with him, didn't they? All these people, they didn't care. U.S. Ambassador to NATO, the Mountain, Matt Whitaker, weighing in as separate talks on Iran and the Ukraine-Russia war begin in Geneva.
Obviously, the president is giving peace and diplomacy a chance, but he's also been very clear that the #1 state sponsor of terror can't have nuclear weapons or the capacity to build them. And he has been very clear about that. He obliterated their program once with Operation Midnight Hammer, and certainly that threat looms while having a armada very close to that region. So, President Trump, in this case, holds all the decisions, but he's willing to give real diplomacy a chance to solve this peacefully. But if it doesn't, as he said, it will be a very bad day for Iran.
I want to play a quick clip from Secretary of State Rubio talking about the Russia-Ukraine negotiations.
We don't know if the Russians are serious about ending the war. They say they are, and under what terms they were willing to do it, and whether we can find terms that are acceptable to Ukraine upon that Russia will always agree to. But we're going to continue to test it.
So, realistically speaking, where do those negotiations stand?
Well, expect productive talks in Geneva, but obviously, as the Secretary of State has pointed out, it's going to take both sides to come up with a way that they can agree to end this war. I mean, it needs to end. The bloodbath needs to stop, as President Trump has been very clear. But at the same time, these are very complex, complicated matters. It's down to, as Steve Witkoff said a couple weeks ago, really one issue, and that is territories. But that's going to be the trickiest, toughest issue. And so we're going to continue to work it. And you know what? President Trump gets all the credit because he's the only person that could bring both sides to the table and keep working to make a deal if one can be made.
Chuck Schumer, all the way back in 1996, Oh, supporting ID checks. Or what? Just anything?
Let's admit the truth. Everywhere people go, they're asked for a social security card. In fact, one way to prove you're a bona fide person who can have a job is to ask for a driver's license and a social security card. This is an anti-fraud amendment. Over where we go, people say, well, why can't you stop illegal immigrants or others from coming here? And the number one answer we give our constituents is when they come here, they can get jobs, get benefits against the law because of fraud. Let's admit the truth. Everywhere people go, they're asked for a social security card. In fact, one way to prove you're a bona fide person who can have a job is to ask for a driver's license and a social security card. This is an anti-fraud amendment.
Yeah. Dick. Dang. Oh, come on now. Tax refunds this year, Trump says, because of the great big beautiful bill, are substantially greater than ever before. In some cases, estimates are that over 20% will be returned to the taxpayer. So when you get your tax refund, think about what a wonderful president you have. No tax on tips, no tax on Social Security for our great seniors, no tax on overtime, interest deductions on car loans, and much more. Show. Okay. In a terrifying development for the left, President Trump just confirmed a whopping 20% will be returned to American taxpayers because of his policies. In some cases, I guess we'll see when tax time finally comes due.
What we are going to see next year, that if you think about the signature parts of the tax bill, I think that the most powerful parts had the immediate expensing for American business, permanent for equipment, and then 4 or 5 year window for factories. So we are already seeing a CapEx boom. So 2025 was a CapEx boom. I think that is going to accelerate with all the trade deals we've done. I was just about 6 weeks ago in my hometown of Charleston, South Carolina. Boeing, the largest employer there, is increasing their plant by 50% for the Dreamliners, result of the trade deals, but it's also part of the tax deal. So we're going to continue seeing this CapEx boom that turns into an employment boom. On the other side, for working Americans, the president, I led the administration's team up on the Hill in terms of what was non-negotiable for the president. And a lot of traditional Republicans didn't like his campaign promises to working Americans, and the president never yielded on this. So no tax on tips, no tax on overtime, no tax on Social Security, deductibility of auto loans for American-made cars. So the bill was done on July 4th. It's retroactive to the beginning of the year for working Americans, retroactive to January 20th for corporates. So working Americans, I also had the honor of being the IRS commissioner, and I can see that we're going to have a gigantic refund year in the first quarter because working Americans did not change their withholding. So I think households could see, depending on the number of workers, $1,000, $2,000 refunds. They will change their withholding schedule at the beginning of the year, and they will get an automatic increase in real wages.
Okay.
What we are...
Come back to that. Colbert rips CBS for pulling an interview with Trump critic James Talarico over regulatory concerns. FCCU. What happened here? I wonder what this moron was saying. It was so bad that they decided to pull it. Jesus. In a segment that did not air... Oh, pardon. It did air. In a segment that did air Monday night, the host laid out the exchange with lawyers, saying, I was told in some uncertain terms that not only could I not have him on, I could not mention me not having him on. Okay. So, what were they worried about? Trump's admin wants to silence anyone who says anything bad about Trump on TV because all Trump does is watch TV. Okay. That doesn't really sound quite like what happened here. Exactly. But geez, this guy must be terrible.
I think that Donald Trump is worried that we're about to flip Texas.
Oh, it's that guy. Running in Cornyn's district. Japanese plastic manufacturer Senko to build their first American manufacturing facility in San Antonio, Texas.
Manufacturing facility in the United States, right here in San Antonio. Now, many county and city officials that attended the groundbreaking today say that this is going to help build and strengthen the relationship with Japan.
Blessing the land during a groundbreaking today, just across from the Toyota plant on Watson Road. The facility belonging to the Japanese company Senko will produce plastic bins and pallets.
And we are meeting the needs of the advanced manufacturing training jobs that are necessary, and we're going to expand.
According to Bexar County Judge Peter Sakai, the facility will employ about 1,500 people, and of those 1,500, company leaders say 300 will be from San Antonio. Leaders also telling KENS 5 they are not sure when construction will begin.
Because that means we're breaking ground.
Mayor Gina Ortiz-Jones also speaking on the importance of continuing relationships between Japanese manufacturers such as Senko and San Antonio, specifically on a national stage when it comes to other foreign relations.
Importance of making sure that San Antonio has a loud voice when it comes to the review of the USMCA deal. Talk about the ways in which we need to keep those barriers low so that that trade can continue.
The mayor going on to say this manufacturing plant will create better relationships like the relationship with Toyota.
Sign a trilateral MOU, Kaohsiung and Taiwan, our other sister city, Kumamoto and San Antonio, and strengthening those I think is going to be all the more important as we look to bring strong economic development deals to our community.
The facility is expected to open in the next 2 years. Meredith Haas, KENS 5.
Few hundred, okay. That's something. Trump firing back at Clinton's over Epstein claims. What did they say?
So Hillary Clinton said in an interview today that she and her husband are getting pulled into the Epstein matter to divert attention from you and that your administration has something to hide. What's your response?
Oh, that's funny.
I have nothing to hide.
So Hillary's claiming that that her and Bill are getting pulled into the Epstein matter to distract from Trump, basically. And that he has something to hide when it comes to Epstein. That's funny.
Jeffrey Epstein, they went in hoping that they'd find it and found just the opposite. I've been totally exonerated. In fact, Jeffrey Epstein was fighting that I don't get elected with some author, a sleazebag, by the way. And I've been totally exonerated. No, they're getting pulled in, and that's their problem. I don't know, they're going to have to see what happens. But I watched her in Munich, and she seriously has Trump derangement syndrome.
Do you think that she should publicly testify?
I've been totally exonerated on Epstein, and it's really interesting because they've been pulled in. Think of it, they've been pulled in. Clinton and many other Democrats have been pulled in, yeah.
Oh, they've been pulled in, all right. Milwaukee corner store owner charged with defrauding Snap out of $1.6 million. $1.6 million.
Prosecutors this month leveling 2 counts against Jabbar, claiming he was defrauding the SNAP Food Share Benefits Program, which is taxpayer funded, out of some $1.6 million between 2022 and 2024. Prosecutors say he'd give people cash in exchange for the food benefits on their Quest EBT cards. The cash would be less than the amount of the cards, but he'd charge the state and federal government for the full amount. They say Jabbar used the money he made to pay off personal loans and credit cards, to fund his membership to a vacation club, and even spend it at retail stores like Target, Gucci, and Nordstrom.
Gotta look fly for the honeys. Yeah. The CIA said it could find no information on Epstein, but it did not deny that it has classified records. It must release them, says Rep. Nancy Mace. In a letter to CIA Director John Ratcliffe, Mace cites evidence suggesting ties between Epstein and the agency going back decades. Oh. CIA could find no information relating to Jeffrey Epstein. It said. Yeah, just trust us. You know. Somehow I just don't believe them. I don't buy it. Go figure. They seem to be lurking around every corner, in fact, when it comes to Epstein, so. One firefighter critically injured in catastrophic explosion at the church in New York. No indication of criminal activity at this time. So, like, how did it happen then? Gas leak in the kitchen? Like, the deal. U.S. Capitol Police say a man wearing a tactical vest jumped out of his vehicle and began running towards the Capitol building while wielding a shotgun. He was then challenged by officers who ordered him to the ground, at which point he was taken into custody. Without firing a shot?
Today, just after noon, we had a white Mercedes SUV park in the 100 block of Maryland Avenue.
The hell?
And then we had a person exit that vehicle with a shotgun and begin running towards the Capitol. This individual was challenged by United States Capitol police officers and ordered to drop the weapon, which he did comply with. He laid down the weapon and then laid down on the ground and was taken into custody by our United States Capitol police officers. I want to commend the officers for the brave service that they provided here today. Who knows what could have happened if we wouldn't had officers here standing guard like they do every single day. I think it's important to note that just a few months ago, we had an active shooter exercise right here on the West Front, virtually in the same spot. And we do those active shooter exercises every single month. And that's why we do it. I think it's also important to note that this individual had a tactical vest on. He also had tactical gloves. And when we looked in the vehicle, he had a Kevlar helmet and a gas mask in the vehicle. He was also, like I mentioned earlier, the shotgun was loaded. He had additional rounds on his person.
Ish. Hooper out at 60 minutes. Hooper. Sorry. All right, Vance on what? Nuclear proliferation. I don't know regarding who, but let's see.
Well, I'm obviously not going to make any announcements today. I think the president has a lot of options. We do have a very powerful military. The president's shown a willingness to use it. He also has a remarkable diplomatic team. He's shown a willingness to use that, too. And so what the president has been very clear with the Iranians, and actually I just talked to Steve Witkoff and Jared Kushner this morning about some of their negotiations, is the United States has certain red lines. Our primary interest here is we don't want Iran to get a nuclear weapon. We don't want nuclear proliferation. If Iran gets a nuclear weapon, there are a lot of other regimes, some friendly, some not so friendly, who would get nuclear weapons after them. That would be a disaster for the American people, because then you have these crazy regimes all over the world with the most dangerous weapons in the world. And that's one of the things the president has said he's going to prevent. Now, we would very much like, as the president has said, to resolve this through a conversation and a diplomatic negotiation. But the president has all options on the table. And, one thing about the negotiation I will say this morning is, in some ways it went well. They agreed to meet afterwards. But in other ways, it was very clear that the president has set some red lines that the Iranians are not yet willing to actually acknowledge and work through. So we're going to keep on working it. But of course, the president reserves the ability to say when he thinks that diplomacy has reached its natural end. We hope we don't get to that point. But if we do, that'll be the president's call.
Cute. Okay.
Marco could be a good cop.
Okay.
I mean, I heard somebody say that I was the bad cop so that Marco could be a good cop.
Okay.
I mean, he gave a great speech, but he drove home, I think, a very important point that the Europeans have largely forgotten, or at least had largely forgotten over the past year, is that the reason why the president or Marco or me talk about borders, the reason why we talk about them spending more on their own security, the reason that we talk about them more becoming a vibrant economy again, is that we want Europe to thrive and we want Europe to succeed. The problem that we have with Europe is not that we don't like Europe, even though you hear that from the European press. It's not that we don't respect our allies. It's that they are doing a lot of things to sabotage themselves. We would like that to stop. We would like them to be an ally in the true sense of the word. And I think that's what Marco's speech very, very ably delivered. It was a great speech. I'd actually encourage people to watch it, because unlike most of these speeches, which you hear a lot of slogans and a lot of cliches, he actually outlined a very smart view of American foreign policy. And it's the foreign policy we've been pursuing for about a year and a month.
Trump says our massive trade deal with Japan has just launched. Okay, Japan is now officially and financially moving forward with the first set of investments under its $550 billion commitment to invest in the USA. Okay. Well, how about that? DNA on the glove found near Nancy Guthrie's home returned no matches in the federal database. Ooh. Police assessing Stansted Airport private flights over Epstein ties? Essex has said it's assessing information about private flights into and out of Stansted Airport following the publication of the Epstein files. 87 flights linked to the convicted sex offender had arrived at or departed from UK airports between the early 90s and 2018. Okay. Former Prime Minister Gordon Brown wrote in the New Statesman last week that police urgently need to re-examine whether Epstein's victims were trafficked within and outside of the UK. Of course they were. Duh. For whatever reason, specifically looking into Stansted Airport. In December, BBC discovered that 3 British women who were allegedly trafficked appear in Epstein's records of flights in and out of the UK, alongside other documents related to the convicted sex offender. Okay, how long do we have? We've got about 30 minutes left. Okay, at the Guthrie House. More at the Guthrie House. What's this? Day 17,
Kevin,
my goodness.
I understand some activity at the house here just in the last few minutes, some breaking news. What can you tell us?
Yes, sir. Thanks for having me, Steve. So just about 15 minutes ago, this is developing break in the story today in that 2 vehicles came to the house and a briefcase was brought inside. And just as I was approaching, I got some on camera. I just put it on my profile, and one man came out, approached the sheriff's truck behind me and said that they got it. Okay. So we're seeing that. And, then after they left, they left in a white pickup truck that looked very similar to what was accompanying the bomb squad truck on Friday night, the 13th. So we're waiting to see a follow-up. And also, Steve, we had a woman pull up moments after that truck left, get out of another car. I believe it would be a detective or perhaps the PIO, Public Information Officer for Pima County. And she spoke with the sheriff's truck who's on guard here. And they spoke for about 10 minutes. And then she walked off the property and then collected the mail of Nancy's mailbox as well. So that is all happening in just the past 15 minutes.
They got it. What is it? Do we have any idea, any insight at all? They got it. That's pretty, sounds important, but it's awfully vague.
It is awfully vague. I have to agree, Steve. And we're trying to just deliver what we are being told with the evidence. There's mass reports of misinformation and a bit of a wild goose chase with all these leads. So I can only speculate a bit. I'm sure it's related to any DNA evidence. This could also be linked to the ransom note that we just got through local news there, and it could be tied to that. Maybe they were in some private communication and said, "Hey, I want to confirm this is us, so I'm going to tell you where something is in the house." Perhaps.
All right, let me just ask you this, Kevin, before I let you go. Look, it's been 17 days. I don't have any illusions this is going to end well. I'm not sure anybody does. But what's the mood there, the people around the house? Are they optimistic at all that this will end in a good way? Last question to you.
I got to say, in my experience, some of the neighbors, they come and just lay flowers. It is a somber mood, I got to say, amongst locals, and, hesitant to speak on it. This is a relatively nice, quiet neighborhood, so most people are trying to just put the blinders on here, it seems. I haven't seen any follow-up vigils or any search parties being formed from the neighborhood itself. So that's what leaves it to us, the media, to help out law enforcement if we can with any tips or video content moving forward.
Kevin, I understand.
That's all about. Okay, Katie Zachariah, a lawyer and staunch advocate for Trump's deportation policies, will be taking over as DHS spokesperson following Tricia McLaughlin's departure. Katie Zachariah, no idea who that is. Guess it's her.
And this is what they get, Katie.
And they stand also, as Bill Haley said, they stand in violation of the Supremacy Clause, and they will lose on this. The Supremacy Clause says there is a supreme law of the land, and that immigration falls under that trace, and so they're not going to be able to enforce this. But more importantly, the widespread pattern of this has to do with sanctuary cities thinking they're above the law. And L.A. County, Mayor Bass, and all of these supervisors think they're above the law. They are not. The federal law applies to them, and they stand in violation. And President Trump said today, all of these states that have sanctuary jurisdictions are on notice. Federal funding will be revoked, and they should do that for LA City right off the bat.
Jimmy Kimmel doing a fundraiser for Hakeem Jeffries and the DCCC. Shonda Rhimes involved too. Oh boy. Tickets only. How much is that? Oh, for the Jeffries 300. $310,100. A bargain. Event share only 100,000. That's nosebleed section. Disgusting. Wow. Oh, Nancy Pelosi and Hakeem Jeffries. Oh, House Oversight Panel opens a probe of the 764 internet extortion cult, preying on minors. Yep. John Solomon, okay. Always up for that.
One of the cases I know you've been following intensely is this massive search warrant operation in Fulton County, Georgia, on the election process down there. I saw you a couple of your articles at justthenews.com, and you had written about they noticed irregularities. Now, we never get out ahead of the story. We're not the left-wing media. You were very clear, and I agree. We don't know if it's going to change a vote count or not. This is about, right now, irregularities in the process, because the process as much as the result matters, because if you don't trust the process, you're not going to trust the result, even if it is accurate.
That's exactly right. Yeah, listen, that's what this is about. This is about restoring voter trust in a place that has had a 2-decade record of not being able to do the most basic vote counting, not being able to do it right, not being able to follow the normal procedures that are required by law. And what a lot of people forgot, but not the FBI, is that when you're an election official, if you knowingly and willfully don't follow the law, either because you're incompetent or you have some crooked scheme going on, you're going to be prosecuted for not administering the elections according to state law. And that's what this affidavit points out, that there are the statutes, section 152 of the federal code, that says if you take on the job of being an election administrator, you better darn follow the law. And if you don't follow the law, and it turns out it was willful and intentional, you're going to get cuff slapped on you and you're going to be charged with a felony. And what we learn in this affidavit, this is hysterical. If you read the New York Times the last couple of weeks, you'd swear that the FBI just went back in and looked at some old stuff and came up with nothing, but they decided to search anywhere. That is not what this agent did, or this team of agents led by the agent who writes the affidavit. He uses a very important word. The FBI has substantiated these regularities, and he puts them down on paper. 5 major irregularities that violate Georgia law or violate the federal requirements for election administration. And in most of them, the reason he's been able to substantiate it, this agent, is he got Fulton County to admit they did all those things. That is great gumshoe work. It's not some conspiracy theorist on some blog saying this. An FBI agent went in and got Fulton County to admit, yeah, we did that. We double counted ballots. We lost ballots. We didn't follow the proper procedures. That is a great tribute, first, to the agent who did the work. Secondly, it's how you get things fixed. The Fulton County has to be punished for bad behavior so that the next election, they do it right.
One of the things you pointed out, John, one of the things you pointed out, which I want to make sure the audience, tattoos on the brain there, is this was a career agent. It wasn't some politically appointed Jack Smith special prosecutor. It was a career agent whose credibility is on the line, who raised his right hand in front of a judge in a court of law and said, I solemnly attest that these facts I've put forth in this affidavit are accurate. He could be in a world of hurt, including his credibility being eviscerated and losing his job, but potentially jail time for knowingly lying, as we've seen in the past. And this passed the probable cause muster for a search warrant. This was not some random politically selected out of the ether case.
No, that's exactly right. And there's an amazing moment in the affidavit. He refers to witness 4. Witness 4 is the former elections director for Brad Raffensperger, the Secretary of State. And the FBI is the agents relaying to this guy who oversaw the election, knew that Fulton County had problems. He's like, hey, we didn't know some of this stuff. That's troubling to me. The people who supervise Fulton County at the state level were surprised by what this FBI agent was able to substantiate, what he was able to get Fulton County to admit. And I think that that is such an important part of a process. There probably will be some punishment. Okay. Some people probably played with the vote count to make things match in the recount because they were such a mess they couldn't get the vote tallies to match, so they probably faked it in some way. whatever the case is, the real opportunity here for the American public, for the people of Fulton County and Atlanta City, is this is a moment of reckoning that will make their elections better if the process is allowed to play out. That agent is going to help the people of Atlanta trust their vote counts greater in the future because of the work he did, and he should be applauded.
Buddy. Will Trump get a 4th Supreme Court justice? Can you imagine the screeching? You hear it now. Possible retirement plans of Justice Samuel Alito. Joined the High Court 20 years ago, second oldest justice. 20-year mark's usually a very good milestone on which to retire. Could do it. I don't know, though. I think he wants to. He's certainly still got plenty left in him. Up to him, I guess. At least 4 dead, dozens hospitalized in interstate crash involving 30 vehicles. Jeez, dude.
We begin with an 11 News alert. Is about 3 miles are closed between the Pueblo Boulevard exit to Lime Road. Colorado State Patrol says right now they believe at least 30 vehicles are involved, and troopers on scene say at least 4 people are confirmed dead. Many are injured and have been taken to the hospital. It is very windy in the area. You could see that on this live camera. There is a detour in place. We do have a reporter on the way right now. We will update you as soon as we learn more. But again, I-25 south of Pueblo is closed in both directions. We're working to get more information. You can see the flags blowing in the wind there as well.
Cute. Trump announcing energy and critical mineral projects in Texas, Ohio, and Georgia. What? More snow and ice. So great. Where to? Where are we going?
Out on this.
There's the overview. Kind of impressive when you notice how many parts of our country will be impacted. It's all connected. So we're just kind of focusing on this northern tier.
Yeah, the northern tier is really going to make out on this. And the last couple of models have really put the arrowhead, specifically of Minnesota, in the bullseye for some big numbers. But overall, behind that, the plains, 5 to 8 inches of fresh snow. And then look at the northern tier. Yes, how far up north does that warm air go and nose over the cold air? We've got a wintry mix for many of us. And of course, we know the dangers of ice. That's always the worst, right? So ice is always a big concern. The equalizer, great equalizer at that. Man, look at the board lit up with all of these alerts, blizzard warnings as well. Strong winds on the backside of this. You got a lot of snow coming down, my friend. A lot of that's happening along Interstate 94 and north of there, right up to the U.S.-Canada border. Impressive. Look at the ice here. This is right through tomorrow. This is, you know, when you talk ice on a commute on any surface.
Any surface
at all. It doesn't matter what kind of car you drive. Unless you've got spikes on your tires, you are slipping and sliding if you're not easy out there.
A big part of the northern tier of this storm is what's happening across the central part of our country. We've been talking about these building afternoon temperatures, the record-breaking highs. Everything truly is connected, and that warm push is going over this cold air that's sinking in from Canada, and that creates this profile where you can get ice. And so when you have this huge nudge of warmth surging up from the south, it really does a number on that vertical profile, the temperature profile, and that's what sets up that potential for freezing rain, which of course leads to the ice.
It looks like I'm not going to get hit this time, but O'Keefe goes undercover as a Muslim in Stockholm to infiltrate Antifa Cyclopen HQ. What on earth? This is a long one. Oh my goodness. In your 30 minutes. All right, let's check some of this out. This just dropped like an hour ago.
We're at the Rinkeby Torg, which means center in Swedish. This place is called Little Mogadishu. We're going to buy a camise, stylish in Stockholm. I am wearing a chamis in Stockholm. I look like a chef, like a Swedish chef. So we're on Rinkeby Street in Stockholm, and there's actually a daycare facility
so it's
right
going
over
on
there.
everywhere over there, huh? Same shit.
But I don't think. And music studio. Yes. And it's totally taxpayer funded.
What the fuck?
I'm wondering if I should go up to the Antifa house. It looks like killer clowns from outer space. We're knocking on the Antifa house, the door of the Antifa house in Stockholm. Look at this place. Look at the light. They're spying on us right now. It's creepy. Listen. They're listening to us through the wall. You hear that? Yeah. They're in there, right? Just a peek. We're in the Antifa house. We're in the Antifa house.
And we got hunted by like 10 masked people here.
This one is for the boys with the booming system. Top down AC with the coolest system. When you come up in the club, he be blazing up. Got stacks on.
We're in the Rick studio here in Stockholm, Sweden with Jacob. Say hello, Jacob.
Hey, Apes.
Yeah, this is the citizen journalism of Stockholm. You got 17 employees? 17 and growing. And we're going to go on the field soon. We got a massive security guard. Looks like a Viking over there. That guy is a big guy. We were in Stockholm, Sweden at Rick's headquarters, a rising alternative media organization deemed a national security threat by Swedish officials. Its leader, Jacob Hagnell, introduced us to perhaps the most fearless and renowned citizen journalist in Sweden, a young 23-year-old man named Christian Peterson. What prompted you to start doing this?
The BLM riots.
Which town?
We had some in my hometown, so...
Here?
No, in Gothenburg. This was the riots irregularly 2 years ago. And they don't really care if they end up in jail, because their benefits won't stop paid. So this is one of my most viral videos. It's about me tricking a leftist Somali journalist. She wanted to date me, so I recorded her. She leaked stuff about her office and so on.
This is exactly what we do. I forgot to bring my vest. I didn't bring my vest.
Yeah, you see if you survive.
I'm raw dogging this.
So you understand what you...
It's going to become violent. We got this big Viking that's going to take care of us.
It will be total shit.
The way I see it is that I walk the line, but I don't cross it.
The thing is, when you're there, you don't really know where the line is. That's the thing.
My job is to know where the line is.
Yeah, okay, good luck.
There's every summer there is riots.
Riots every summer. But what's the purpose of the riot?
Because it's so they have a festival there. They're pro-regime people, and then there's been riots there for a couple of years now.
I see.
So, yeah, Rinkeby is the worst place in Sweden, according to me.
That's where we're going.
Yeah, one of the worst. And there's a lot of gang violence.
We're going to the worst place in Stockholm. And then what is this? So this is the immigrant neighborhood here?
Yeah, this is the Somali area of Stockholm. There's a lot of crime, a lot of gang violence here.
They all live in that building?
These buildings, yeah.
Oh. Are they going to break into our car?
We'll see. I got insurance on this.
We'll see.
The city council, they put a lot of money on renovating these houses in order for it to not get too shabby.
They
But if you would go inside one of these places, it would smell like shit.
we always go to the nicest places. We don't go. We don't get to stop and smell the roses. We get to go to the dangerous places.
To the right, there's a story about that bridge. I don't know that much.
The
Maybe
Sweden
some-
Democrats want to demolish it because they don't want the criminals from here to walk to the better side of town. That's...
But the immigrants, they want to keep it because they feel isolated
If they get rid of the bridge. The Swedish Democrats are the conservatives or the socialists?
The conservatives.
Are there shootings or just knives?
Yeah,
or?
yeah. No. A lot of also.
What
like
the
grenade
frick?
attacks.
They have grenade attacks?
Yeah.
Like they're going to throw a grenade at us?
Not at us, but they usually
Oh
find
my
out who your
God.
family is and do it against your family instead.
Oh, okay. They throw a grenade against your family.
That was Antifa. It was like
Oh.
a smoke grenade. But these people, the gang, like drug gangs here, they are very dangerous.
We're at the Rinkeby Torg, which means center in Swedish. White people don't go here. And we're going to go and walk around. And this is Christian, legendary citizen journalist from Sweden. And James O'Keefe, reporting from Stockholm, Sweden.
This place is called Little Mogadishu because it's mostly Somalis here, actually.
Little Mogadishu.
Yeah.
So let's check it out. Do they speak English here?
Probably not. Not even Swedish.
Do they speak Swedish?
Not a lot.
Not a lot. Rinkeby Square is extremely dangerous, and you must not film overtly, or it will immediately escalate to violence. So we had our hidden cameras. I can tell these places would get like instantly, they go from like cold to hot, like they just come out and start attacking.
Especially if you film.
You're not a very fearful person, are you?
Not really.
You don't really get afraid.
I just manage to escape all the time.
You
so
escape. You retreat.
Yeah, usually I do.
Do white people ever come here?
Never.
So white people are not coming here.
No.
So we're sitting out.
Look, they have like these traditional. We can look at the Islamic shop here.
Yeah, you can see they have burqas in this shop. Dresses, burqas, everything like that. Totally different culture here, much like London. I needed something that broke the ice, and fortunately we found a storekeeper that could sell us a kameez, a skirt that Islamic men wore. I would pose as an expatriate American who converted to Islam. Hello.
Hello.
Hello. What is it called, the burqa? What is this called?
The burqa.
What are you wearing?
This?
Yeah, what is it called?
Hijab.
What about for the men on the bottom of their legs? What is that called?
You mean a kameez?
A kameez?
Yeah.
Can an American wear a kameez?
All people.
We're going to buy a kameez. It's the skirt.
A male skirt.
I'd like one.
Yeah, that's
Maybe I should try it on just to make sure. Okay, I try it on right now.
Dressing room.
Dressing room.
Yeah.
I'm stylish in Stockholm.
No,
it's very nice.
you're
Let's go
integrated
to this.
now.
I'm an American
You're American.
in Stockholm. I am an American.
Wow.
Look at here. I thought I was going to come to Sweden and be like a Swedish guy, but I'm wearing, what is this?
Kameez.
I am wearing a kameez in Stockholm.
I'm getting jealous.
Can I wear it outside?
Yeah, why not?
Okay. Nice story out there.
I mean,
where is all this made? Where is it
Looks
made?
like one of these, bathing.
It's like a shower cap. It needs to be bigger.
Yeah.
I look like a chef, like a
Do you feel Swedish?
Swedish chef. Okay, I buy it. All right, hopefully I don't get killed. I thought that was euros. I brought euros to Sweden.
We have our own currency.
Euro currency. Shows you how much I know.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So we're here. I just went in to buy the appropriate attire in Sweden. You know, my friend Christian here tells me that they really do want to convert everybody, so hopefully I don't stick out like a sore thumb, although I feel like it. So we're on Rinkeby Street in Stockholm, and there's actually a daycare facility right over there called House of the Future where there's 15 employees, $5,000 a month for each employee, and they give like free music and free video games and stuff to teenagers or whatever.
Also cooking lessons.
Cooking lessons, and people, like, you can drive a race car experience. So I'm going to go in there and try to get a tour and see if anybody's in there and see what's going on and maybe show them some of my dance moves. Hello, I'm James. I'm American Islamic. And I hear you, I'm a tourist, but I hear you you do podcasts here.
Yeah, we do. We don't do podcasts. We have a pod room, but I don't think.
And music studio.
And music studio, yes,
And it's totally taxpayer funded.
Yeah.
So you can go inside there for free. Yeah.
So I can make some music.
Teenagers.
What about like EDM, electronic dance music?
You can make whatever you
What about house music?
I don't have any idea.
Um,
That's not my
like a
my area.
Rufus de Sol.
Huh?
Have you heard of Rufus de Sol?
No, I never heard that.
It's they're big in Australia.
Okay, are you from Australia? Or you
No, I'm from the United States, but I love Rufus, and
I can show you around if you want.
I would love that.
Sure.
Yeah. I would love that. We heard all about the Leering Center for Somalis in Minnesota from Nick Shirley. The commies worked, and the man at the front desk of this location offered me a tour. Make some beats. Oh, nice. You have the DJ board.
I don't know what DJ board is.
It's like a turntable.
I don't. Maybe. I can.
So this is all funded by the government.
Basically.
Nice. Beautiful.
Basically, yeah.
I love it.
This is the dance hall.
Oh, the dancing. I want to show you my moves.
Yeah.
I can do this. How many people can do this move? Ready?
What is this for?
It's got a load. Wasn't it good, right? I just wanted to show you my moves. Oh, you have a driving simulator?
Yeah. This is the driving simulator.
Man, may I?
Yeah, but it's very complicated. If you know how to start, you can.
Oh, I know how to do stick shift.
Okay, try it.
Okay. Vroom vroom.
Yeah, you have to.
How do I do it?
I don't know how to start it, but.
You don't know how? There's a button somewhere.
Yeah.
I think there's like maybe a computer near that.
Vroom vroom.
How many employees do you have? 15 full time.
Yeah, 15 full time.
James, he said that they have 15
where are
full-time
they?
employees here.
15 employees.
One employee in Sweden costs around $4,000 to $5,000 a month. So
I see. Now, how much does it cost to use this place?
It's free.
It's free.
Yeah.
Gratis.
Yeah, gratis. Yeah.
Who's paying? Usually, you don't charge anything like tax.
Nothing.
No.
And you have 15 employees.
I think so.
So
I'm not the one who has like.
Yeah, it's
the
very
checks and
good.
balances.
It's very good.
Around the
You're very kind. Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you.
It's like it's just sitting there, like untouched, unused. For what?
Employees, like one employee in Sweden costs around $4,000 to $5,000 a month because we have 50% taxes in Sweden. So if you do the math, how much?
It's a lot of money. 15 times 5,000, completely free.
And for nothing really, like people can play music at their own homes.
Yeah. It's interesting they talk about the importance of immigration and the importance of unifying people, but what you begin to realize, and obviously you all suspect this to be true, but seeing it with my own eyes is just how isolated this population is.
And there's a lot of places where you can send money abroad.
Is they send a lot of money abroad here?
Yeah. This is a bank for sending money abroad.
Well, this is a bank for sending money abroad here at Western Union. What's the name of the street?
Rinkeby-stråket. This is like the main road of Rinkeby.
Rinkeby-stråket. Rinkeby-stråket.
Actually, many Somalis from Sweden are moving to the UK now because there are more benefits there.
More benefits in the United Kingdom?
But sometimes they get double benefits from Sweden and from UK. And then they use the union to spend the money.
He might sell coke, he always
You like super bass, Christian. You love Nicki Minaj. Christian loves Nicki Minaj. Look at this.
Yeah, I actually broke up with my girlfriend like 1 week ago, and I listened to super bass a lot.
Why? Does it remind you of her?
What?
Does it remind you of her?
No, it's like more a thing that I've listened to since we broke up.
Just to get your mind off of it?
Yeah.
Okay. That's the damnedest thing I've ever heard. This is the third time I've heard this song with Christian. Let me hear that boom, 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 boom.
Silly. Fucking weird. All right, well, we're like pretty much at the top of the hour here. Let's see if we got any more we can get into. Where did we leave off there? Oh, shit.
It could be.
There it is.
Interesting.
About 16-minute mark. All right. U.S. government has released fresh intelligence on what it claims was an illicit Chinese nuclear test conducted in 2020. Well, what happened? Where at? When and where? On June 22nd of that year, a remote seismic station in Kazakhstan detected a tiny earthquake. The event registered just 2.75 magnitude, but originated around 450 miles away at China's main nuclear test site known as Lop Nur. Huh. Warren Buffett's Berkshire Hathaway reveals surprise stake in New York Times. When did that happen? Disclosed Tuesday a new investment in the New York Times, marking its re-entry into a sector that Buffett had abandoned in 2020 when he sold his conglomerate's newspaper business. Yep. Huh. Oh, wow. 3 foreigners and 2 DMV workers just got indicted for plotting to sell non-citizens migrants driver's to sell non-citizen migrants driver's licenses in exchange for kickbacks in Kentucky. It awkwardly worded that.
People accused of running a driver's license scheme in Louisville are now facing federal charges.
4 of them appeared in court today. Jamie Mace joins us live to tell us what happened in front of the judge. Jamie?
Rick, Vicky, the defendants who appeared in court pleaded not guilty today. The 5th suspect does not have any record of his arrest just yet, but all are accused of working together, charging immigrants hundreds of dollars for illegal licenses.
A new indictment describes the elaborate scheme targeting people who didn't know how to get a driver's license in Kentucky. The document says starting no later than November 1st, 2023, Raul Tellez Ojeda, Lozaro Alejandro Castelo Rojas, and Robert Danger Correa recruited people who were immigrants and offered to get them a license by avoiding a line and bypassing testing requirements at the driver licensing regional office at the NIA Center. Those applicants were allegedly told fees ranged from $200 to $1,500 and were made to believe the process was legal. The indictment says the suspects often escorted applicants on the day of their appointment and told them where to wait and when to enter the NIA Center. Many of the applicants had difficulty speaking English. As part of the scheme, Danita Wilson and Ariel Matthews, who worked as temp workers at the NIA Center, are accused of manually changing the status of driver's license records so the system would recognize licenses that did not exist. According to the indictment, a duplicate license would be printed even though an original had never been issued. It also says the scheme involved kickbacks and bribes to other workers within the licensing office so that certain customers were directed to Wilson and Matthews issuing stations. The suspects are accused of running the scheme through October of 2024. They're now charged with dozens of counts of mail fraud, unlawful production of identification documents, and money laundering conspiracy.
Raul Teles Ojeda was not in court today, and there is no record of his arrest just yet. If convicted, the defendants face a maximum of 20 years for each count of charges filed. Reporting live, I'm Jamie Mace, WLKY.
Yes. Okay, on my way to Ohio for the Oversight Committee's deposition with Les Wexner, the man responsible for Epstein's wealth. That could get interesting. We're going to follow the money, ask the hard questions, and keep pushing until the full truth about Epstein's network is out in the open. I'll keep you posted.
At the airport. I'm heading to Ohio right now because tomorrow we have a major deposition as part of the Oversight Committee's work into the crimes committed by Jeffrey Epstein. So tomorrow's deposition is actually with a man named...
Oh shit, we are, sorry, we're like 2 minutes over here. My bad. Well, that about did it anyway. Warner Brothers says reopening talks with Paramount on its buyout offer, so that might not be over with. Yes. Okay, well, that's it for me. I don't know what happened to my camera down in the corner there. I don't know why that stopped working, but whatever. Okay, Sketch Danger and Sunny are here. How we doing? What's up?
Yeah, you still look great,
Hey,
man,
right,
even
there
if
you
the
go.
camera's not there.
Thank you very much.
Yeah. Side profile and everything. It's awesome. It's awesome.
How you two doing?
Oh,
Doing good.
blessed,
Someone's
great.
asking for that last link you had, maybe?
Which one?
This says, Pam, please drop link. I don't know if it was from the last one, maybe? Ed Kurtz is asking.
I'll wait for him to respond. What? I'll get him.
Okay.
Yeah.
Watching chat.
Cool. Well, I guess it's all you two. Leave it in your hands.
I'll sketch. I'm just a sidekick.
Appreciate it very
There's
much.
the peanut
Thank you.
gallery.
Cool.
Just happy to be here.
All right.
All
So-
right.
Oh, you know it, man.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
You guys have a good show.
Right on.
God bless
Yes,
you.
sir.
both.
God bless you.
Yeah.
Thank you. All right.
All right, YouTube. There we go. That's it for me. I gotta see what link I need to drop here, or I forget. Tracking Epstein link. Okay. Gotcha. All right, cool. Well, that does it for me. I will be back tomorrow evening. All right.